However, I had to jump on and talk about this as there has been an update from Fabrizio Romano about Carlos Baleba. Carlos Baleba's transfer plea. I also want to talk a little bit about the striker situation. Benjamin Sesko has been in the gym. Want to get your thoughts on that as well. But starting off with Carlos Baleba. Carlos Baleba's camp have been in contact with Manchester United to suggest the possibility of a return for Baleba. The approach has come from the player's side. Baleba was pushing hard to join United a year ago, viewing a move to Old Trafford as his dream. And why should Baleba hand in a transfer request, you might ask? Well, we have the news as to why that question might be asked of him. Let me know in your live chat all your thoughts, all your comments. Would you take Baleba? Are you starting to become a Baleba again? I know Goldbridge is thoroughly against this, and everyone's entitled to their own opinion, but this is a community where everyone is entitled to a different opinion. I'm going to be completely honest. I'm starting to come around to the idea, guys, not completely, because I watched him last season, and I was adamant last season when I watched him that he wasn't ready to play for Manchester United. However, it's starting to creep into my mind the more this transfer window goes on, that if you could get the talent out of this player that is there, he has shown it is there, he could be a really good signing for Manchester United. But it is a big if, it is a risk. But where we're at in the transfer window now, is it worth taking that risk, considering he is literally, if he can get firing and at that vein of form he was in before he had that car crash of a season last season, the season before that, if he can get to that level or even further with development in Manchester United, he is the exact type of profile that we need in the midfield that complements Andre Santos, that complements Youri Tielemans, and most importantly as well, complements Kobbie Mainoo, who's going to be a starter under Michael Carrick, is what we're being told. So let me know your thoughts in the comments, get your votes in, but we'll get in the news that is coming in here as well. So this is what's coming in from Fabrizio Romano. And do you know what? Goldbridge did call this. Fair play to him. He's over living his life having sangria in Spain. But he did say all the hype around Baleba and the stories around Baleba are coming out via his agent and his entourage. And Fabrizio Romano has backed this up. He said this: being that physical presence that we need, there is something to think about. You know, with super high tackle success rate, strong duel winning, you know, when he's at his best, his pass completion is very good. Good press resistance as well. Good on the ball when he's at his best. And he's not, you know, playing the way he did last season. He balances Kobbie Mainoo's tempo and line-breaking passing with raw physical power. He is an engine, and also as well to take note of, he is an aerial presence in terms of his height and his physicality and the way he can, you know, the way he can win them aerial duels. And that's something that we're missing out on with Casemiro leaving. He's not a patch on Casemiro yet, I've got to be honest. However, when you think about what United need in terms of a profile, Baleba does tick the boxes. He does. And we're getting desperate at this point. Do you take that risk? Look, before I let you all enjoy the rest of your Friday, before you tune back in 5 p.m. for Manchester United versus Rosenborg, me and Maud in the studio, Andre Santos watch, can't wait for that, and JJ Gabriel. Are we going to see him get them minutes, them first team minutes, you know, a star among our ranks? I just wanted to bring in this. Benjamin Sesko. Have you seen the transformation, guys? Have you seen the transformation? I've seen a lot of debates on this online, on Benjamin Sesko and whether he should have, you know, changed his build and built out that muscle and that frame. And there's been people saying, you know, he's not going to be as light on his feet now, he's not going to be as quick now. But with Benjamin Sesko, I actually always thought he needed to be using his size more. He is, you know, his physical capability, I mean, the potential is massive. He's tall, and if he put on that muscle and was able to hold his own a little bit more, I think he could be unstoppable. So I'm actually in the camp of, I'm glad that he's put on a bit of muscle if he keeps his speed and keeps his pace and, you know, maintains the way that he's light on his feet, because he can now, you know, hang on to centre-backs a bit more, be that handful that we see so many centre-forwards do successfully. Like, a few times last season, you did see him get sort of pushed off the ball. I mean, look at what Kanate did to him when he did his shin injury. I bet he thought, that's not happening again. He can go head-to-head with these centre-backs, and, you know, the Premier League is a very physical league. So I think it's a good thing, and as long as he keeps that, you know, lightness on his feet and he keeps that pace, I think it could prevent him getting more injuries, which is what he suffered because he got shoved off the ball a little bit. And I'm not saying it's his fault. I'm still annoyed that Canati didn't get punished further for that. And he can be that more dominant in-the-box striker, hanging off the centre-backs, and he can bully them back a little bit. So he has been, put through that bulking phase at Carrington, but I think it could be a good thing. I mean, let me know what you think. A couple more super chats coming in. We have Ifran saying, I wouldn't, only because we spent the whole summer saying we want someone else who should sit in our stew of failure and not just someone who we should buy for the sake of it. Potential future Deadwood. It's a risk. I am not taking away from the fact it is a risk, and it's whether it pays off. He's only 22, though. He's only 22. And if Carrick can get hold of him, look, Michael Carrick, I'm gassing him up a little bit in this summer window, but he's a very good man manager, and midfield is his speciality. Maybe he can do something with Baleba. Jean Louis Pretorius says, I would rather get Sander Berge. Disagree on Sander Berge. I think if we were going to buy Sander Berge, it should have been a few years ago. I'm not really up for signing him this summer. That's just my personal opinion. Kill Robinson says, describe what we need, and Baleba ticks every box. Apart from consistency, we need someone who's consistent, and he's not that. But every other box, physical profile, ball winner, dominant in the air, covers a massive amount of ground, good on the ball, good at carrying the ball, that defensive profile that we're after, age, Premier League experience. He does tick a lot of them boxes. Gaza says, Baleba one good season, Kone starter for France in the World Cup and cheaper. Don't see why we are delaying. I think we are a little bit worried about the injury record of Kone as well. And there's rumours that that's not going to be as cheap as we thought it would be. So let's see what United decide to do on that. Blame Shifter says, Scott for me all day, every day. I would love Alex Scott. But he still wasn't, my top priority going into this summer. I maintain the fact, Elliot Anderson, Chouameni, Mateus Fernandes, etc. But I would love Alex Scott. I'm going to be completely honest with you guys, though. I just do not see us signing Alex Scott. I don't see us paying 80+ million for Alex Scott. So I think that's sort of done and dusted now. John says, worry we've raised the floor of our squad, not the ceiling. Interesting. Kiel Robinson says, Baleba and Mainu is more balanced than any combo. If Baleba can play the way that a lot of people think he can, and he can get to that level where Brighton anticipated him to be, which is going past Caicedo, which is no easy feat because I think Caicedo is brilliant, then he becomes an £100 million player. And that is a series combo. But you're hanging your hat on an if. You're hanging your hat on a hope. He can do it because he's got the talent there. But it's a big, big if.
Then I wanted to mention something more on a former Tottenham player. Harry Kane. Now the World Cup is over, the player is on holiday. After the holidays, Bayern are prepared to approach Harry Kane camp to offer him a new contract. Because after some calls arrived from Spain over the recent weeks, Bayern have already confirmed to Harry Kane before these calls and before the World Cup that they want to offer him a new contract, and now they are expected to return to the table, meet with the brother of Harry Kane, who is taking care of his future, and offer a new contract to the striker. So Bayern are set to return to the table and offer a new deal to Harry Kane. And that's going to be a negotiation, a conversation taking place in the next weeks. So keep an eye on that one, because obviously it's going to be important to understand the future of Harry Kane at Bayern. Then guys, I wanted to mention something more just quickly for all of you asking me about the situation of Manchester United and Carlos Baleba. What's the story on Manchester United and Baleba? What's happening between Manchester United and Baleba? Just quickly, guys, from my understanding, Baleba, 1 year ago, August 2025, was pushing like crazy to go to Man United. And Baleba had an agreement on personal terms with Man United. So he had his dream to become a Man United player. Then Man United couldn't proceed because Brighton didn't want to sell the player. He was a top target at that time with Amorim, and so nothing happened. Then Man United were considering Baleba as a top target when Amorim was at the club. Then, since January, when Amorim and Man United decided not to continue together, since that time, the track has gone cold for Baleba. Now, the name is out there again. Why? Because my understanding is that those close to the player have been in contact again with Man United to suggest the possibility to return for Baleba. So it's from Baleba's side that they are trying to understand if Man United can return for the boy or not. After the Ederson deal off and after all the other developments, from Baleba's side, they want to understand if there is a chance to reopen conversations and negotiations with Man United. We know United are looking for a third midfielder. We know United want to make something happen for another defensive midfielder. So this is the plan, this is the idea, but we need to understand now if there is going to be a possibility for Baleba or any other option, because Man United are checking on the market which possibilities can become concrete in this summer transfer window. But Baleba is a name who was already high on the recruitment team list 1 year ago. The player is super keen about Man United. Now it depends on the club whether they want to proceed or not. Guys, on this and much more, many updates as always every single day. Remember to like this video, turn on the notification bell, subscribe to the channel, and then every single day, guys, we are here to keep you posted. So your opinion on Lacroix to Chelsea, on Harry Kane, Pep Guardiola, Carlo Ancelotti, Cuti Romero, what do you think about his future? And then Carlos Baleba, yes or not for Man United? So your opinion here in comments. See you soon.